Hi, this is James Governor at Redmonk, and today I'm joined by Steve Burt, the CEO and founder of EQ2's.
And good morning. How are you?
I'm very well.
Good.
So, EQ2's, I know Steve pretty well because they shared an office with us. Basically, it's very much in startup mode. An interesting company kind of working on the environmental accounting space. Is it fair to call it environmental accounting?
Yeah, I mean, sustainability economics is what we use.
Sustainability economics.
Like that?
Yeah, that's nice. Nice.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's how do you measure accurately environmental impacts, but how do you cost it accurately as well?
Okay.
Because this is all about the economics as well as making a company more sustainable.
So it seems to me there's a lot of carbon accounting companies out there at the moment. You a carbon accounting company?
We do that, yes, because in many respects that's the easy part. I mean, that's something that, as you know, you're right, there are a lot of people out there doing that. Let's look not just at carbon, but let's look at all the environmental impacts, even down to possibly parts per million, to say, how do we understand that and what's the accumulation effect?
Okay.
And if we could do that easily, without costing you a fortune, then that's got to be the way to go. Okay,
you mentioned this accumulation effect. As I understand it, aviation seems to be an industry that you're pushing forward as a vertical. What's the story about accumulation and aviation? Is that something that we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, I think it is, because, you know, at the end of the day, one flight on its own into an airport or anywhere is really not a large event. But then we start doing the numbers and saying per day, per year, per past years and per future, the accumulation from the fuel burn and all of those impacts are going to start to mount up in a very large way. And so understanding that, what is our exposure? What is the damage that we're looking at, and what are the costs relating to that damage that we could be faced or we're facing now?
Small things add up, basically.
Absolutely, no question. I mean, you know, yes, look, we have to look at the carbon impacts because of EU ETS and because of all the way the governments around the world are saying this is a currency we can use, we can measure. And I would say, yes, we need to look at that, and we need to get accurate information, not just estimates. And a lot of the models at the moment are based on estimating. I understand that.
Okay.
But we have to get to accuracy, just like your financial accounts are accurate.
Right.
But not only that, we then have to go from the carbon to other things, SOx, NOx, water, waste, and all the other impacts that are side effects of the resources we use.
Okay, and one of the things as well is you seem to be focusing a bit more at a sort of a life cycle approach rather than, say, just taking a process and looking at fuel and carbon emissions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about that? How is that a methodology, or is because you're a bit more? Your ambitions are more than being just software. I mean, you're actually looking at business process issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole issue of the granularity of it, or granular resource economics, is what we've developed. Is to say, how do you understand the whole issues, you know, revolving around a subject matter. Life cycle analysis is quite good, but it's still developing. So what we like to do is say, well, actually we can surpass that and go to a granular level and give you more accurate information about whether it's manufacturing, whether it's resource use, and that's really what we're focusing on. And then map that back to the financials of the company. So start understanding the information against economic information. And so what does that mean? How does a company become sustainable? How do you reduce your operating costs? And how do you could generate more profits?
Okay. As I mentioned, you're certainly doing some work focusing on aviation as a vertical, and this is both airlines, airports, governments and their relationships with airports, and possibly even airline catering is an area where you've got some real experience. I'm not going to talk about your customer prospects, but hopefully next time when we speak they will be customers in production.
Yes.
The one thing I would say, and perhaps you could mention that, where would I find this report? You've done a deep report into aviation fuels and perhaps some futures in the airline business because of that. Where would I find that? What's the information?
The biofuel report which we've released is on our website, obviously.
What's the website?
www.eq2.eu.com.
Okay.
Please go there, it's in the library section and you can download that, it's free download. It's also been sent to a lot of media people, and some of the governments have got it. So it's starting to float around.
Okay.
So yeah, please do.
So if you're interested in aviation and aviation fuel aspects and the entire life cycle in terms of carbon and all of the chemicals, might be worth reading this report.
Yeah,
Steve,
please.
thanks very much.
Thank you, good to see you. Thank you very much, good to see you.